Hi, welcome to Lab Fluid Mechanic. I'm Dr. Muhammad Nur Hidayat, will be your instructor to conduct the Lab Fluid Mechanic. So today we're going to do the experiments of Francis turbine. This is the lab sheet that you're gonna use during the experiment. The titles of today is Francis turbine. So, what is the objective? The objective is to study the effects of guide vanes opening under varied load conditions. So the apparatus that we're going to use is the Francis turbine experiment sets. So here is the methodology for you to conduct the experiment. First, turn on the main switch of the control panel. B. Turn on the centrifugal pump by pushing the green buttons. And C. Set the centrifugal pump speed first at 1900 RPM. And D. Open the bleeding valve to ensure no air contained in the tube that is connected to the input spear valve pressure transmitter. Once the air is released, close the valve immediately. E. Set the guide vane to be fully opened by turning the handle against the water inlet directions. It may be necessary to be slackening the retaining ring screw by a small amount. Fix back the ring screw once the vane position is fixed. F. Turns on the loads by switching, flicking up the switch while the rest of the load switch remain off. So we name as the loads as L2 and until L5, switching pointing downwards, right? Observe the changes and record down all the parameters shown on the panel. We have the panel and then we have activate the load. You need to record all the value appear on the panel. And G, repeat step F. This is step F by varying the load. So first you switch on load 1, load 2, combination of load 1, load 2 in at least 8 different combination. Alright, this load different combination just follow in the table. We have set up the instruction to activate the loads. H, repeat step E to G. So E until G by varying the guide vane. So we have different openings of guide vane. You need to set ups until from step E until G in at least 3 conditions. Alright, first 100% guide vane opening, 60% guide vane opening, and lastly is 30% guide opening. Alright, now let's take a look of the experiment conducted by our lab assistant.
Assalamualaikum. Welcome to the Fluid Mechanic Lab. For this lab, we have 2 experiments for the SKMM 3931. One of the experiment is the Francis turbine. So today I will show it to you about the Francis turbine. So this is the Francis turbine set. Okay, so for the objective of this experiment is to study the effect of the guide vane opening under varied load condition, and the apparatus we will using the Francis turbine set. So here is the Francis turbine set. Okay, so next we go to the methodology step. So for the first step is the turn on main switch. So for this one, here is the main switch. You just switch on the machine. Alright. And then we go to the next one. Next one is the turn on the centrifugal pump by pushing the green button. So here is the green button. So just switch on the machine. So machine will be on. Water will go to the Francis turbine set. So then we go to the pump speed. For the pump speed, we will set pump speed at 1900 radius per minute. So here is the centrifugal pump. So then for the motor speed is here. So this one is the motor speed. So motor speed we will increase until we get within 1900 radius per minute. So just increase until we get the reading. So for this experiment, we accept plus minus. Means the reading is between 1900 or 2000. So now we get the reading. So for the next one is the open the bleeding valve. So for this one, open the bleeding valve is here. So you just switch on. So you can see bubble here will go out to the main. So then we can close it. So the function of the bleeding valve is to ensure there is more air contained in this tube. Okay? Alright, so next we move to the Francis turbine. For the Francis turbine, we have 3 openings. The one is 100%, 60% and 30%. Alright, so what you need to do is you need to move the handle to get 100% guide opening. Alright, so then we set 100%. So here is the vane. We have 6 vanes here. Alright, as you can see here. And then the rotation part, that one is the impeller for the Francis turbine here. You can see here, this one is the impeller. So for the next one, we go to the turn on the load switch. This one is the next step. So load switch is here, starting from L1 until L5. We have 5 reading load switch. So what you need to do is, you need to look at the table. So here is the table. We have L1, L2, L1 plus L2, L3, L1 plus L3, L1 plus L2 plus L3, L4 and L5. Alright, so to get L1, you just switch on the machine L1. So what you need to do after that is, you need to take the reading for the turbine inlet pressure. So number 1 here is pressure indicator. Next is the flow rate. Number 2 here is flow rate indicator. Next is the turbine voltage. Number 3 is voltage indicator. And number 4 is the turbine current. Number 4 here is current indicator. The last one is the turbine speed. Number 5 here, turbine speed indicator. Okay. So for the L2, here is L2. So what you need to do is, you need to off L1 on L2. So then you just repeat again step reading. For the first turbine inlet pressure, number 1. Number 2 is flow rate. Number 3 is the voltage indicator. Number 4 is the turbine current indicator here. And then number 5 is the turbine speed. And number 5 here is turbine speed indicator. Alright, so just take the reading. For the next, we have L1 plus L2. So here is L1 plus L2. So for the L1 plus L2 at the machine, you need to on both switch. Turn on L1 and also turn on L2. So you just repeat the reading that you need to take it. Pressure, flow rate, voltage, current, and speed. After finish for the table 1, 100% dry opening, you need to go to the table 2, that one is the 60% dry opening. So for the first 60% dry opening, you need to adjust this handle. This handle, you need to adjust to the 60%. So what you need to do is just adjust it to 60%. And then the weight here, wind will change the opening for the 60%. Alright, after we change the die in opening to the 60%, you need to complete again L1, L2, L1 plus L2 until L5. And then for the last table, also same, you need to adjust to the 30% die opening. So 30% die opening, we just repeat the same step. That one is adjust this handle to 30% opening, and then the wind or the opening will be changed to the 30%. Okay, so for the last opening, that one is the 30% opening guy way. So here is the 30%. You need to complete the load L1, L2, L1 plus L2 until L5 here. So complete the data, then we get the result. So that's all for the step or the procedure to running the franchise turbine. So the last thing what you need to do is that you need to find output power, input power, and also the efficiency. That's all. Okay. So good luck and thank you.
Alright, next, after you have looked at the experiments, you look at the franchise turbine, you look at the panel, how to activate the load switch. Now we go to the results parts. Alright, in the result part, you need to complete the table here. The atmospheric pressure is given. Here in the table, we have three categories as I mentioned before. For the three guide opening parameter, which is we have 100% guide opening, we have 60% and 30%. All these parameters, alright, are the same. First, turbine inlet pressure, we call FP number 4 bar. We have flow rate, we have turbine speed in RPM, we have turbine voltage, we have the turbine current, we have output power in watt and input power, as well as efficiency. Alright, these parts you need to calculate on your own self. Alright, the rest of these will be given to you as shown in the raw data here. Alright, we will give you. You can see here L1 until L5. We have 8 different combinations of loads. We start with L1. We switch on the load number 1 and then we record the turbine inlet pressure. And then we record the flow rate. We record the turbine speed in RPM. We record the turbine voltage as well as turbine current. And then we do a second time for the load number 2. We switch on load number 1 and we turn up load number 2. And then we record as well. So all these have been recorded, and then I will send to you this raw data. And next experiment we do for the same thing, but we need to adjust for the guide opening. We adjust 60% only for the guide opening. And lastly, we adjust 30% for the guide opening. Alright. So for the result, you need to calculate the following for the each load with the combinations and guide opening. So you need to calculate. You need to calculate and fill in all the values here. For the table 100%, 60% and 30% of guide opening, you need to calculate for the output power, input power and efficiency. So you need to fill up this table L1, L2 until L5. How to calculate? Based on this theoretical calculation. How to get the power generated? P0. This is power output. We call as a P0. Right? Voltage multiplied with current, P equal to IV. So where's the voltage? Voltage is here. Turbine voltage and turbine current. multiply this with this, you will get the output power. And then how to calculate the turbine input power? PI input, simply the change of pressure multiply with the flow rate. So how to get the change of pressure? Definitely pressure 4 minus P atmospheric pressure multiply with flow rate. So P4 minus P ATM. This is P4 minus P ATM. And multiply with the flow rate here, and then you will get the turbine input power. Place it here, alright, in this column. After that, the efficiency is simply P output over P input multiply with 100%. After you have filled up all the table, and then you need to plot two graphs. The first graph, the power generated versus turbine speed, which is power generated, which is the power output versus the turbine, okay, the turbine speed. This one versus turbine speed. After that, you need to plot the turbine efficiency, which is here versus turbine speed. So, the efficiency versus turbine speed. And lastly, you need to do the discussion and conclusion. For the discussion part, discuss the experiment conducted by considering the calculated variable and the plotted graph. So, in other way, you need to discuss your result and put your findings. So, what's your result? What happened to the graph? Please explain significantly what happened, the trend of the graph, increasing and decreasing, why it is happened. Alright, and then put your conclusion, state the conclusion that can be met from the experiment. So your conclusion refer back to the objective of the experiment. Alright, for the lab report submission, please compile this together. The cover note for the lab sheets. This is for the short report. Please fill out your detail, title, your name, the date of experiment, and myself. Alright, Dr. Muhammad Nur Hidayat. And this part, alright, just this one, just leave it here. And make sure during your report or before doing a report, you need to understand the rubric. This is how you need to score your lab sheet report. So please read through the how to score the data collection. Alright, in the short report, you need to do the data collection, analysis, interpretations, conclusion. That's it. So you realize that the analysis and interpretation carry heavy weightage, which is 60%. And in order for you to score high, you need to complete the analysis with good supporting evidence. Please support from any other literature review, any researcher or scientist that mention the same as your experiment, your findings. Discuss the finding in the relation to theory. Alright, so the data collection, complete data gathering. We give you the raw data, and then you need to calculate and put it inside the table column. And make sure your conclusion well supported conclusion based on the finding. Alright, and this conclusion relate back to the objective of the experiment. Alright, for those gonna do the formal reports, please follow this rubric instruction, and please make sure that you compile together the cover note for lab sheets of formal report. First, as usual, fill up your detail, title, your name, date of experiment, lecture name, Dr. Muhammad Nur Hidayat. And then for this one, leave it blank. And for the formal report, you need to include the introduction, objective, data collection, analysis, interpretation, conclusion, references, organization and clarity, and time submitted. Alright, please read through the rubric score on how to score high. So in order to score outstanding for the introduction, please provide concise lead into the report. And for the objective, well written the background. And for the data collections, alright, we give you all the raw data. You need to calculate on your own self and then place it in a table. Alright, data gathered properly presented in the table graph. Please properly caption your table or your graph. For example, table 1 refer to, table 2 refer to what. And as well as the discussion part, please complete the analysis with good supporting evidence. The conclusion, well supported conclusion based on your finding. Alright, your conclusion, please make sure go back to the objective, answer the objective. The references, highly related references, please use the proper formats. If you use the APA, please use consistently. Alright, and organization and clarity, proper language, smooth flow, grammatical correct, clean, neatly bound in report cover. And lastly, time submitted. Please submit on time. Right? So therefore, I think that's all for today's session. Thank you very much for your watching. Bye.